I knew it, y'all. So it came out that the reason why this man unalived the mother of his child, and his cousin is because he was DL, and it came out, and for somebody found out. I think at one point maybe the baby mama found out, and the information just kind of spread it. But according to what they're saying, he was actually on his way to unalive someone else. Now this all happened within the time frame of 9 hours, y'all. He was on his way to unalive another person after he unalived 3 women. He was on his way to unalive someone else when he got into a standoff with law enforcement and ended up being unalived because he was on a rampage. This is sad, y'all. This is sad. Be your true self. Be your true self. Why would you unalive people because you're afraid to be who you are?
The reason why men are, the reason why men turn to violence a lot of times in these instances is for two reasons. I mean, they're both related to misogyny and the patriarchy. So, men are bred to be and raised to be hyper violent, right? So you got that going, and then B, because of the patriarchy and because of misogyny, men are extremely homophobic, and it leads to a great deal of shame in most men's minds to be homosexual. It leads to a lot of shame, right? And when men's whole identity is wrapped up in our masculinity and our perception of masculinity, then doing anything that we don't deem to be masculine could be devastating, like messing with men, like dealing with men, like having relations with men, like being in relationships with men, whatever the case may be. That's the reason why it is imperative for men to unpack our misogyny, because it literally leads to violence. It literally destroys you from the inside, right? And then that can hurt. You could end up um, hurting other people because of that. Um, Now, when I was talking about with as far as like your masculinity, people putting their whole identity in their masculinity. So because men despise women, right? Because men have a disdain for women, we have a disdain for anything feminine, anything that we consider to be feminine. And sleeping with, there's nothing more feminine. There's nothing more feminine than sleeping with a man, right? There's nothing that is more a woman, a, a thing that could be attached to a woman than sleeping with a man. A duty of a woman or whatever you want to say, than sleeping with a man. An action of a woman than sleeping with a man. Like it's just so once a certain type of man crosses that threshold, then if he hasn't unpacked that part of misogyny within him, it can create like a ton of anxiety. It can create anger and shame. Shame will lead to anger, right? And they in this dude's case, obviously he became deathly afraid that everybody else is going to find out. Because why? Because men know how other men treat women. Men know how men treat men who are feminine. Men know. That's what he didn't want. He did not want to get removed from the cult of man, even though a large portion of the cult of man is gay. They are gay men. But yeah, he didn't know. He didn't know that he could be who he was. He was like, man, if I am who I am, you know what I'm saying? If I'm found out, I'll get booted. And in the cult provides us a level of solace for men. It provides a level of protection and acceptance. And men need that. A lot of men need that acceptance from other men. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men are out here we're doing everything to be accepted by men, right? We're not doing stuff to be accepted. You know what I mean? Like we're omitting stuff. We're not doing stuff. We're stopping us from doing. You know what I mean? Like because like, oh, that's not manly. You know what I'm saying? Washing your ass, that ain't manly. Like, men, whatever it is, we're trying so hard to make sure that we remain in the cult, that we will go even to the extent of unaliving people, like this man did. His own mother, the mother of his child, his cousin, all because they found out that he was gay. How simple would life be if men unpacked that shit and we just accepted people for who they were, right? I'm talking about the community too, not just him, because it shouldn't have been a big deal that he was gay. Even for the people, I'm not blaming them for their own unaliving at all. I'm just saying, no, as a community, we should be accepting of those people and we should be welcoming those people. I don't think he would have reacted like that if everybody in the community was like, hey, we accept you. There's no shame. There's no fear of shame. I'm talking about the men specifically. If the men weren't going to ostracize him, if he didn't believe that about the men in his community, like they weren't going to ostracize him, then I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't think the anxiety is as high. I don't think the desire to keep it a secret is as high, obviously. And I just wish men really would get back to that. I'm not get back to that. I wish we could get to that place where we don't allow ourselves. I'm sorry, where we do allow ourselves the room to be feminine, to be whatever, right? To be different. Because it's not even just about femininity. Men don't like any type of men that are different from the cult. You make men uncomfortable all the time just by being different. You know what I'm saying? Like if we were all zebras and, like I remember in the movie, what's it called? Oh my God, what's the movie? Ben Affleck and Chris Rock, the cartoon, Madagascar. And the zebra, Chris Rock's character, Marty, he said that he said all the other zebras are black with white stripes, but he's white with black stripes. And he felt different because of that, right? That's like that's how it is for me. Like if you just, if you are different at all, like they're going to they're going to point it out, you know. And if you recognize it, if you see it, then it'll create like an anxiety in you. It'll create like these like negative feelings in you, like, oh man, damn, I can't let anybody know I'm white with black stripes. Everybody's black with white stripes. I'm white with black stripes. I can't let them see. Like that's how men act. That's how it is, and ultimately it's a sad existence, right? Because who wants to live like that? Who wants to live? Who wants to not be able to fully realize their humanity and be a complete human being? And one of the most important ways of doing that is sexually, right? Like imagine that. Imagine being hamstrung by that. But ultimately you're hamstringing yourself though, by the way. Like it's not, I mean, even if other men are judging you, um, there could be a level of violence that comes with coming out as well. We know that because gay bashing, as is referred to, is still a thing. Um, trans, people coming out as trans, whatever the case may be, same thing, right? So we know the likelihood of violence goes up if you identify with the LGBTQIA community. But you know, uh, beyond that, you don't have to hide yourself. And I don't think that most of the men are necessarily afraid of that. That's why I'm gonna say like that's not something that I feel like you have to, or something that where it's like, man, I get it. I get why they don't want to say anything. It's like, I mean, the threat of violence is there, but it's not as prevalent for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Certain communities, certain areas, you got a certain friend group or whatever the case may be, definitely. That's definitely on a case by case basis. But this guy is masculine presenting. Like he's a man's man from the outside, and you can be masculine and be gay. That's the thing. You can't be masculine and still be gay. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's just something that I wish men would just really try to get to the bottom of, because it is literally killing us and it is killing other people. And that's just frustrating and sad.